Jaguars got a big game on the road against the Eagles. I think the assignment should be clear. Stop Saquon Barkley. We'll talk about that more here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is your team every day here on Locked On Jaguars. We thank you for making us your first listen here. Wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you check in every single day so you don't miss an episode. And also peep in over on our Locked On Jaguars YouTube page where you can catch us over there also. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Quick shout out to the everydayers for joining us every day here on Locked On Jaguars, where today we're going to talk about what the Jaguars need to do to win this game in Philadelphia. I know y'all saying maybe take a baseball bat or find some other ways to help you with that team. But I think it's about scoring touchdowns, not field goals. I wouldn't be going for it on fourth down. I get the touchdown on one of the 3 downs early. Kick the field goals, Doug. Don't listen to me. All right, we'll go over that. Don't lose Jalen Hurts. And what I mean by losing, I'd spy him. I'd spy him if you're going to pass rush, because if you get past him, he'll create running lanes and he'll run right past you. So we'll discuss that. But first and foremost, the things that we're going to discuss is number 26, Saquon Barkley. That is the man. That is the person, in my opinion, that is the key that the Jacksonville Jaguars have to stop. He can beat you in a variety of ways. Now, Jaguar fans, duck when I say this, because it's going to hurt a little bit. This is what Saquon Barkley does real well. He breaks tackles. He makes people look stupid on the second level in the open field. He can hit the home run. He can dink and dunk and catch the ball out of the backfield and then make people miss in open spaces. He runs that little what are the little route all those running backs run when they go out and then turn towards the post. He does that very well. He's smart. All in all, he does a lot of things that it seems like beats the Jacksonville Jaguars at football. Players like that usually beat the Jacksonville Jaguars at football. They just do. He does a lot of things, man. He really challenges your defensive linemen, and he challenges your linebackers and safeties. I'm telling you, man, I'm glad Foy Oluokun is back, because that at least gives the Jaguars a little bit of help in that area where you have a very good player going. It's good on good. I think he's a nightmare for people like Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma. That's just my opinion. And they got to stop him. It's interesting how when you love your own players, right? You love, Tank Bigsby and people. I don't even know if Travis Etienne is going to go, but people have been hard on Etienne all year because they like Bigsby now. And you think you're really, really good at these positions, and then you sit it side by side with a guy like that makes that much of a difference. And the Giants are the dumbest team on earth to allow Saquon Barkley to go to a team that is built like the Philadelphia Eagles. Not to mention that the Eagles are the Giants' biggest rival, but if there were 2 running backs, I said they're going in perfect situations. Saquon going to the Eagles and Derrick Henry going to Baltimore. You couldn't have drawn that and built it in a lab or come up with it in any wild scenario that you thought that those things were going to happen. It's like too perfect. Absolutely perfect. Perfect scenarios. And these dumb teams let them do it. I'm surprised the Dallas Cowboys didn't go after one of them running backs, but you can see now that they're not making a whole bunch of smart decisions. But now the Jaguars have to go up here and face this dude, and he has 766 yards rushing for the season. He, to me, is their best player. He's been their best player all year. It is absolutely amazing to me, man, that the Philadelphia Eagles fans have actually been disappointed in their play when they have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Now, I know guys were hurt. Jalen Hurts got a bunch of money. Now, the guys on the crossover yesterday, they told us, Gino told us that he is, and Jalen Hurts is finally running around and being loose. because I thought he had come out there with this body armor. He's looking like Steve McNair in his older days, and with all this bulky stuff. He didn't look like the same Jalen Hurts, but now he's kind of gotten back to it. So now you have that double whammy of will he give it to Saquon or will he keep it? And if he keeps it, will he run it or will he throw it? And who's he going to throw it to? Because even though their tight end was hurt, Dallas Goedert, they had another tight end come in and catch the ball to death. So they are really, really good. They can be really, really good when they're on. And when they're off, they can be really, really ugly. And the Jaguars are the same way, but more times, more likely, the Jaguars have been off enough to lose games, and that's why they're 2-6. That's exactly why they're 2-6. You got to stop Saquon Barkley. He's the dude that'll kill you. And if he doesn't touch the ball, if Saquon Barkley does not touch the ball at least 20 times in this game, then yeah, Sirianni ought to get fired right away. Right away. You got to let when you have a guy that good, you have to let that guy touch the ball. I'm pulling for the Jags, of course, but I'm flat out telling you, man. I'm telling you right now. If he doesn't touch the ball 20 times, I think the Jaguars win. I think they find a way to win, and Sirianni, they're going to be trying to fire Sirianni in Philadelphia. The Eagles are 5-2. They've already had their bye week. And they're trying to heat this thing up. They got to keep up with Washington in that division. If Detroit manages to lose to Green Bay, then all of those guys are 6-2. And Minnesota's also 5-2. So, yeah, this is a fight. It's not guaranteed that, having a decent record, 10-8 might not, or 10-7 might not get you in the playoffs in the NFC with the way this thing is looking, with Atlanta looking like they're going to win their division, and then 3 teams at 4-4 in the NFC West. Philly might mess around and allow the Jaguars to beat them and then cause themselves a world of hurt. They absolutely might. So, can you catch a team flat like that? If they don't feed the ball to Saquon Barkley, he needs to touch it 25 times a game. If he does that, they're going to win the game. But if he doesn't, if somehow the Jaguars manage to keep the ball away from Philadelphia and out of the hands of Saquon Barkley, and for some reason Philadelphia doesn't go in that direction, I would make Jalen Hurts beat me. I would not let Saquon Barkley beat me. I would stack that box. I would do all of that stuff, man. I'm telling you, he is the type of player that can dominate the game, can make enough plays, and demoralize you at the same time because of how he plays and the type of back he is. So the assignment number 1 is to stop Saquon Barkley. Assignment number 2, don't let Jalen Hurts get loose. What do I mean by that? When you rush him, you got to rush him under control. I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about in segment number 2 here on Locked On Jaguars. Gotta let you know about today's sponsor, man, and that is Game Time. That's right. Tickets. Everybody wants tickets, right? And sometimes you got to wait till payday. That means day of the event. You can still get tickets even after the game starts at Game Time. That's right. They will filter out all of the fluff with their curation process and show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste your time searching through hours and hours and thousands of tickets. The other thing that they do is the lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. And you get all of your information right there. Ain't no hidden fees at the last minute. And that's what I love about Game Time. They will take care of you last minute, but don't give you last minute surprises. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Today's show is also sponsored and brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Now, look, man, our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan, it's not just a hobby, it's a way of life. It takes a lot of energy to power through all-day tailgates, touchdown celebrations, and agonizing overtimes and agonizing Hail Marys. We saw that last week, didn't we? It's why they created the Fan 5-hour energy shot with a special flavor called Fan Fuel. That's right. I love it. The energy shot made just for super fans like yourself. If you're traveling, man, and going to that game up in Philly, you might need this before you go over there to Xfinity Live. The fans who are first in the parking lot and who are last to leave, we see you. And this is all about 5-hour energy. 5-hour energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. Whether you're prepping for the big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why limited time Stand the Fan 5-hour energy shot is here to help you fuel through the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with 5-hour energy. Available on 5hourenergy.com, shipped nationwide. All right, segment number 2 here on Locked On Jaguars, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. Talking about the Eagles and what the Jags have to do. And I'm going to get to what the Jags have to do towards the end of the show. You know, generally when we talk about what a team has to do, we're talking, it seems that what we're talking about or what we're speaking on is offensively. Got to score points. Got to do this. Got to do that. And we'll get to all of that, you know, in just a second, because that's the sexy stuff everybody wants to talk about. But they have to stop the other team too. And not only do they have to stop the other team, they have to stop themselves from making mistakes. And they're 2-6 for a reason, because they've done a lot of things that have pretty much been head scratchers and self-destructive. How many times do you see them get a penalty? Too many men on the field or some kind of procedure at the start of a drive, and it creates a first and long situation, which changes the game planning. How many times do you see them not get off the field when they're supposed to get off the field? A lot. They have too many self-inflicted wounds. One of the things that they did in a game that was very, very regretful early this year is when they lost to Cleveland, they somehow could not corral Deshaun Watson. And it's because he's very, very adept at scrambling, but he wasn't scrambling trying to run. He was scrambling to just get away from trouble and get rid of the ball or dump the ball off to somebody. That is what Jalen Hurts does that can hurt the Jaguars if they're not careful. You cannot rush the passer and get beyond him to the point where you allow him out of the pocket. And he loves to throw while he's running. He continues to look down the field. He doesn't run just for the sake of running, but he will run just for the sake of running. I would force him to play from the pocket. And that doesn't mean he can't play from the pocket to all the sensitive people that's going to, what are you trying to say? No, I ain't trying to say nothing. I'm just telling you, I would force him to play from the pocket because it's a pick your poison situation. You just can't give him everything. Just make him do one thing and make him do it all day. And he could probably do it and kill you because he has those weapons, especially if they get the running game going. But what I will not do is let him run around and scramble on me. Can't happen. I'm going to turn him into Kurt Warner. That's the best thing that you can do. And that's the first ballot Hall of Fame. If he can be as good as Kurt Warner, then fine. But to me, this is the recipe for the Jaguars to win the game. And it also allows your defensive linemen to stay when they're rushing the passer and playing the way that I'm suggesting that they should play. It also helps them stay in those running lanes just in case you run that draw play. Don't let him out the bag. Make him stay in there. Make him stand right there in that pocket and throw the football. If they do that, they have a pretty good shot at winning. But you got to do it. And this is where it takes discipline. It takes guys like Trayvon and Josh Allen to not chase sacks. I think there ought to be some situational blitzes. Since now that Foyolo comes back, bring him, man. Bring him in that A gap. Make Jalen process this thing really quick. You just got to start taking things away from him because he has too many weapons. And when you blitz, you better make sure you got somebody on that hot guy. You better cover Saquon when he comes out of that backfield, because if you don't, they got people that can run after the catch and make this thing very, very ugly. I think the Jaguars have enough pieces and parts. See, this is where your good is going to have to play well with their good, right? Lane Johnson's back. He's a little bit banged up. Trayvon gonna have to get on it today, Sunday. He's gonna have to be on his game. Foy's back, and I think they're gonna probably end up playing Ventrell Miller a lot the way they have been because he's a tackling machine. They got to tackle Saquon Barkley. Now you got Tyson Campbell back. All right, A.J. Brown, he's your man. You're a high-paid corner. He's a high-paid wide receiver. Go get him. Shut him down. Stop him. This is where your one-on-ones have to be good. Everybody hit me up all week with Balky Masterclass, like when the guys actually do play well. Well, here you go. This is not a bad team they're playing here. This is a good team. This is where you have to step up and show that you're one of the best. Tyson Campbell's being paid as one of the best. Josh Allen is being paid as one of the best in the league. Foye Oluokun has been very handsomely rewarded for his efforts here in Jacksonville. Now they got to get it. When you're playing against a really, really good team, they need those individual performances, and guys are healthy. All their best players on defense are healthy. It's the offense that's going to be the issue. So the defense is going to have to help the offense out. And that's why I haven't talked about what the Jaguars have to do offensively. I'm going to hit it in segment number 3 because it's really, really self-explanatory. But the first thing, and we all know this, is stop Saquon and don't let Hurts extend those plays with his legs because he can do it. He can really, really get it in and really, really do it. We're going to talk about what the Jaguars have to do without doing what they always do when they try to do the very thing I'm going to tell you that they have to do. They got to score touchdowns, but it's something else that they've been doing. They got to get rid of it. I'll talk to you about that in just a second. After I let y'all know about FanDuel, who's today's sponsor for Locked On Jaguars. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. That's how I just got to let you know. It's America's #1 sports book. We need to get that settled and make sure you know that right off the bat, because right now new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win that $5 bet. Now you got to win that $5 bet, but you get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, rolling along here on Locked On Jaguars, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. Y'all know y'all can come over to the barbershop and see me every day on Locked On NFL. First, you got to check out Tyler Rowland. He gives you a double shot of espresso at about 6 o'clock every morning with the biggest stories from around the NFL, using the local experts that know your team like no one else. And then here I come in the middle of the day with the PM version of Locked On NFL. It's called the barbershop. Come on in there with me, man. We'll get all up in everybody's business and give you the biggest stories of the day using local experts also. Make sure you check it out wherever you get your podcast and over on our YouTube page. The Jags have to score touchdowns. Now, when I say that, people are like, hold on, Wig. Hold on. Does that mean Doug going to go for it every time he crosses the 35-yard line? No. They need to convert and turn everything that they can into points. But we want those points to be touchdowns as opposed to field goals. But you need to take some of those field goals. They don't need to travel inside of the 35-yard line of Philadelphia and come away empty. I'm not saying it's touchdown or nothing else. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you, no, they need to actually take those points. But you know how you give people instructions? Hey, man, do the right thing, take the points. But you know you need touchdowns, right? That's what I'm saying. The Jaguars, if they're going to win the game, they have to get 7 instead of 3. You're going to have to. Let's just say they get 6 opportunities to cross the 35-yard line of Philadelphia. If they do that, they need to, at the very least, get 4 touchdowns. 4. All of them need to be converted. They get 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals. That's 34 points. They'll probably win the game. If they get 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals, that's 30 points. There's a chance they could win the game. 30 points, they should probably still win the game. And then if they have the ball that much, that means that they probably control the clock. But what they cannot do is kick 4 field goals, get 1 touchdown, score 19 points. They're going to lose 21-19. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. You cannot keep getting down there on the road against a team like Philadelphia with the weapons that they have and keep them close. If you move the ball, you have to make it count on the scoreboard. The Jags haven't necessarily been a juggernaut this year when it comes to offense. They had a couple of really, really good games offensively. A decent game against New England once they got going. A good game against the Colts offensively. But now they're banged up. They don't have their wide receiver room the way you want it. I don't know if Brian Thomas Jr. is going to go or not. But Gabe Davis has been hobbled. We know that Christian Kirk is out for the year. I think it means a lot of 12 personnel. You're going to see a lot of 2 tight ends. I think Evan Ingram's going to have to play a pivotal role. If you got Evan Ingram on your fantasy team like somebody I know, then you might want to put him in the starting lineup in a flex position because I think he's going to be Trevor's main target. Even if they get behind, Trevor's going to use him to get first downs. So this is going to be a good game for Tank Bigsby. He's going to have to get loose. It's going to be an even bigger game for the interior of the offensive line. The Jaguars are also playing without Cam Robinson for the first time. So you're going to have to watch guys like Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham going up against Walker Little. And, of course, we all know about how good the interior of that defensive line led by Mr. Carter in his second year. And he's been lights out, man. Look like a little Reggie White. So, yeah, the interior of the offensive line is going to be stressed out a little bit. They're going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to keep everybody, they're going to have to do everything they can to stay honest. They got to run the ball. They got to keep Philadelphia honest. Yeah, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are going to be hard to move in the middle of that Eagles defense. Very, very hard to move. They list Josh Sweat as a strong side linebacker because they basically run a base 3-man front, but it's really they use him as an edge rusher. Hopefully, we'll get the matchup we want between Brian Thomas Jr. and Quinyon Mitchell also. Good rookie versus rookie. And you'll see a team in Philadelphia that used 2 early picks to shore up one part of their team. The Jaguars don't really use early picks like that on defensive backs. They were apparently going to take Terry and Arnold in the draft this past season, but we were talking about that on the crossover, that would be a really, really good matchup and something interesting to watch, to see those 2 rookies. So, yeah, I would love to see those 2 rookies go back and forth. But if the Jaguars are going to score touchdowns, you think Brian Thomas Jr. and Tank Bigsby would have a lot to do with it, and maybe even Evan Ingram. It's going to be hard, but it can be done. And look, I may come on here Sunday, and the Jags may have won the game, and they're sitting there at 3-6, and we're saying, hey, man, this thing isn't over yet. I know we're waiting every single week to finally say, okay, is this the one that is this the straw that broke the camel's back? Are they now going to finally move on from Barkley and Pederson? Look, I don't know that answer any more than anybody else. All I'm going to tell you is from a week-to-week basis from now on, it's always going to feel like this is the game where that ball is going to drop. I'm just here to basically tell you how I think this game is going to go. They have to stop Saquon Barkley. They have to make sure that they keep Jalen Hurts in front of them, and they have to score touchdowns when they're on offense and not field goals. And a lot of that has to happen with the Jaguars doing stuff that they haven't done well all season. What will they say now? I mean, this is what happens when your team leaves you perplexed. Are you going to hear, we're not a good football team. We work on that in practice. We got to get back to the tape. Guys haven't quit. We're doing. What words do you say this Sunday? Because it's going to sound like a broken record. It's going to sound like the same thing they've been saying the whole time. So, I mean, I'm just trying to basically point out to you the small window that the Jaguars have to win this game. And that small window is stop Saquon Barkley. And it's a small window, but it's a hard thing to do. Don't lose Jalen Hurts. That's hard too. And don't let the Philadelphia Eagles score touchdowns. And I mean, you have to score touchdowns and get more touchdowns than field goals. And you have to make every time you cross the 35-yard line, you have to get points. The window for the Jaguars to go out and be able to make mistakes is over. And that happened. It should have been over, but it really happened. And it's really over once these injuries came. Once the injuries came, man, it just made everything smaller. And we're going to see if that actually helps them, because when Trevor didn't have certain guys and they weren't running a whole bunch of guys in and out of the game offensively last week, and they just went with one group, even though that group was backups in the fourth quarter, they went and scored twice and tied the game up against Green Bay. And that's a good defense that they were playing. So maybe you get more by having a little bit less. I don't know. We'll see if it carries on this week as the Jaguars look to try to continue to play offensively the way that they played in the fourth quarter against Green Bay in a loss last week. It's all about Saquon. It's all about Jalen Hurts. It's all about Trevor Lawrence, man. It's going to be probably a big Doug Pederson love fest once again up in Philadelphia. Hopefully the Jaguars will win and give y'all something to smile about. We will have a postcast immediately after the game on Sunday, so make sure you tap in. Take care of each other. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Tap into the postcast on Sunday about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour after the game. And we'll see what we have for you. Until then, y'all take care of each other. I'll do the same.